though we have put in place, for example, Indico, which has been doing a fairly good job in investigating cases, we would love to see more prosecutions being brought before the court. But we now believe it is time that the Jamaican state establishes a commission on human rights. We already have the public defender, which does do some amount of work in protecting human rights. But we need to elevate that office now into a human rights commission. A commission that will not just respond when there is an issue, but a commission that could look at trends and see where the trends are pointing to human rights abuses and intervene either through the court or by making proposals for changes in policies or laws. We note just a few months ago a similar case where another Jamaican citizen lost his life, was deprived of his life under the care and protection of our state forces. It is disturbing that the same or a similar report was given, that the person fell from a bench or fell from a bunk, and then it has turned out to be otherwise. In cases like this, a human rights commission could, if duly and properly empowered, not just look into the culpability of the persons involved in the case, but to see whether or not there is a trend of procedures, of actions within the state agencies that are leading to human rights abuses. And the opposition thinks that that would be a very useful direction in which to go in terms of advancing the cause of human rights. That is the development of a human rights commission. To speak to the particular case, you would note that we have appointed a deputy spokesperson on justice in the form of Mr. Harold Malcolm, who we have heard from. Mr. Malcolm is a human rights lawyer. And he's not just a human rights lawyer, he's also an advocate for human rights, having himself had situations where his close relatives were deprived of their life under circumstances which would suggest human rights abuse. And so the Jamaica Labour Party is very serious about tackling this business of advancing human rights. And we're going to ask that Mr. Malcolm pays close attention to how this case is being investigated. We will be vigilant and we will ensure probity. At the end of the day, we want to see an outcome in which the public can be satisfied that the investigations were done in a fair and transparent way, and that we can have faith in what is being told to us. We are also cognizant that the parents, as private citizens, will not be able to stand alone and face the state. It is important that the opposition and other agencies, other civil society bodies come and give support to the family so that there is adequate resource to ensure that justice is done. So we're looking at ways in which we can support the family to ensure that they have proper legal representation, to ensure that they do get the services of an independent pathologist, one of their own choosing, and to give oversight to what is happening with Indicom and other agencies that may be conducting investigations. I want to return to the point that we acknowledge that the police force has made some steps in improving its human rights records. They have not yet borne the fruits we would like to see. I think that the police should use this tragedy in such a way as to send a strong signal to its members that it is serious about protecting the rights of citizens. I think it is important that the police be seen as not just being investigated by Indicom, but that they themselves show the interest of trying to get to the bottom of this case, to reaffirm and reassure the public that they too are interested in ensuring that the police force that we have is one in which the culture of respect for human rights is entrenched. The opposition is also very concerned about what we see sometimes as a culture that says the common man doesn't have any rights. It's not just a culture that sometimes we see come out in the police force. We see it come out in all kinds of areas of national life. And we must break that. Every agent of the state, every employee of the state, every state agency, every state department, every ministry must treat our citizens with respect, that they have rights, and the right to life is the most important right, and no one is to be deprived of that right. And so let us use this very tragic incident, the death of Mario Dean, as his mother would want, to be the point where Jamaica changes, to be the point where we make human rights foremost in our thoughts when we deal with the citizens. The development of our country is not just our growth in GDP, but a large part of it is how we expand and protect the rights of our citizens. That is indeed the new challenge that faces us in the next 50 years of our independence.
Thank you very much.